Today we are going to continue on this second period of the genealogy, and we are still covering this basic for the calculation of the Regnal chronology, right? Basis for the calculation of the Regnal chronology. What are the basis? What are the fundamental elements that we need to understand before we actually start calculating King's Regnal year? The first is accession year and non-accession year, right? Accession year and non-accession year. Accession year and non-accession year changes according to the main character, according to the king, right? Depends on king, the accession year method and non-accession year method changes, right? And the second element, second fundamental element is the Nishri and Nissan and Tishri cycle, right? Nissan and Tishri cycle. Nissan and Tishri cycle doesn't change according to the main character, right? According to the people, it doesn't change. It sticks to the nation, right? Northern Israel, from the beginning until the end, kept using Nissan cycle calendar, right? Whereas southern Judah, from the beginning until the end, they kept using Tishri cycle, right? Right. The third part is to understand about joint reign and regency, right? Joint reign and regency. Joint reign and regency. But before we go for it, do we have the paper today? Do you got the paper? We have a paper today. Thank you. The fourth book, we say the calculation of the fourth book is the most difficult calculation in the Bible, right? The first reason is actually it involves a lot of formula, a lot of aspects, and we need to consider a lot of aspects in order to calculate properly. But the second reason, more fundamental reason, is because we are not familiar with the king's name, isn't it? Who is the son of Adam? Who can tell the names of the son of Adam? We all can say, right? Cain, Abel, Seth, right? Why? Because we learned it and we are familiar with it, right? Who is the son of Eber? Who is the son of Eber? Peleg, right? We learned it and we are familiar with it. Who is the son of Abraham? Too easy, right? It's all because we got familiarized with the names already, right? But when it comes to kings, their names are really difficult, right? It's like a foreign language. And the pronunciation is difficult, and they sometimes more than one names for themselves, right? So when we say, I think the baseline, the bottom line, that when we say that we want to learn fourth book, right? Firstly, we have to read the fourth book, right? We have to read the book. Without reading the book, Pastor teach me the contents of the fourth book, that doesn't work. My lecture, what I am teaching is only superficial, only very little, right? If you really want to know and if you really want to understand the fourth book and the Bible, right, then you got to read the Bible and you got to read the fourth book. I'm not going to ask you how many of you have read the fourth book so far, but the most important thing is from now on we have to read it together. Without reading the fourth book, even after 42 weeks, even after 100 lectures, you will not understand. We have to read it. The second is, at least, right, we have to get used to these names. We have to get used to these names, right? So shall we just read out the southern Judah king's name and the northern Israel king's name? Shall we start from southern Judah? You can look at the chart that you just got, right? You just received. Let's start from Rehoboam. Ready? Begin. Rehoboam, Abijam, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, Ahaziah, Athaliah, Joash, Amaziah, Azariah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, Manasseh, Amon, Josiah, Jehoahaz, Jehoiakim, Jehoiachin, Zedekiah, right? Right. Still, right? Still not easy, right? But let's go for the northern Israel kings now then. From Jeroboam, ready, begin. Jeroboam, Nadab, Baasha, Elah, Zimri, Tibni, Omri, Ahab, Ahaziah, Joram, Jehu, Jehoahaz, Joash, Jeroboam the second, Zechariah, Shalom, Menahem, Pekahiah, right? And Pekah and Hoshea. Wow. You can memorize it by singing the song, right? Rehoboam, Abijam, Asha, Joshabat, right? Whichever way, next Wednesday we are going to have a quiz of this, filling the names of the this king's name. Okay, I think we have to do it. It's just like the basic of everything, right? If we don't know who, if we are not familiar with these names, we cannot go for the calculation. Every time it sounds like we will feel like we are hearing the foreign language or alien language, right? Ahaziah and okay, right? Far. It's just the story that it's just too far from us, right? So please remember all the names, and next Wednesday we will have. I will give you the blank paper, which is the back side of your sheet, and you will be given time to fill it up. So, right. So let's come to joint reign and regency. Joint reign and regency. The English book translates as a regency and joint reign, right? Regency is basically it's a similar thing, but if we distinguish regency and joint reign, regency is within one kingdom when there are more than one king. Regency or co-regency, we say, is the situation within one kingdom, within a kingdom, there are more than one kings being active. For example, when the father is being sick, right? So the son became acting ruler of the king, of the nation. So there are two kings at the same time within the same country, right? So that is regency. What is joint reign then? Joint reign is within the territory when there are more than two nations or two kingdoms exist. So in case that it happened in the northern Israel, right? Northern Israel, when the king died, and then when king was assassinated, right? When king was murdered, then there are two parties fighting against each other, saying that I'm going to be a next king, right? So the people are divided into two groups. It's not within one kingdom there are two sons or father and son, but it's the two different people fighting against in order to take over the kingship, in order to take over the nation. So that is joint reign. So when there are more than two kingdoms, more than two reigning parties, okay? So sometimes over Kuala Lumpur, above Kuala Lumpur, one king is reigning, and under Kuala Lumpur, another king is reigning, right? So that situation we call joint reign, okay? So how do we know that there was a regency or joint reign? How do we know? Because the book says so, right? Because the book says so, we know that there was joint reign and regencies. However, in terms of calculation, how do we know? How do we know? If you have done it, if you do it, you will be amazed. For example, let's say there is a kingdom, right? Southern Judah and Northern Israel. And we calculate from king number 1, right? Second king, third king, right? According to comparing to Northern Israel, right? First king, second king, third king. But we're doing this calculation in order to validate, in order to find that this year, this number is correct for each other, right? But then when it comes to certain point, right, the number came out here and number came out here doesn't match at all. Not just the 913 and 912, right? But it's more like 909 and 871, right? So it has a great difference here. When it comes to this point, either the formula that we used was wrong, or there must be some other issue that caused that the Bible has to written in this way, right? The Bible doesn't say there is regency. Bible doesn't say there is the joint reign. It's the senior pastor Reverend Paul, by Father's grace, that he found out individually. You have to do all the calculation in order to find out, there is a point that joint reign or the regency happened. So let's go and see how it is found and what it can tell us. First is between Asa and Jehoshaphat, right? Jehoshaphat. This is rather easy one, right? So let's read 1 King chapter 22 verse 41. 1 King chapter 22 verse 41. Can anyone read it for us? 1 King chapter 22 verse 41.
Now Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, became king over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel.
Amen. It says, in the 4th year of Ahab, right, Jehoshaphat became king, right? So, to make it simple, Ahab became a king in 873 BC, right? 873 BC. So his 4th year. Now, what do we have to consider? Whether it's the accession year or non-accession year, right? But Jehoshaphat was using accession year method, right? So 4th year, we don't deduct anything, right? So then it became 869, right? 869. It means Jehoshaphat became a king in 869 BC, and it also means his father Asa died in 869 BC, right? So it's the same time Asa died, and Jehoshaphat became king, right? Right, next verse, 1 King chapter 22, verse 42. 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 42. Right, it says he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem, right? He reigned 25 years. Who? Jehoshaphat, right? So let's take this number, A69, when he became a king. And he reigned for how many years? 25 years, right? Accession year or non-accession year? Jehoshaphat used accession year, right? So we do not change. So the answer is 844. 844. 844. So this means this is the when Jehoshaphat died, right? Jehoshaphat finished his kingship. Jehoshaphat died. And his next king, Jehoram, became king, right? When the preceding king died, then succeeding king become a king, right? So this is the year, this is the time Jehoshaphat died, and this is the time that Jehoram became king. Now, the trouble comes here. 2 Kings chapter 8 verse 16. 8 verse 16. Second King chapter 8 verse 16, please.
Now in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat, then the king of Judah, Joram, son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, became king.
Thank you, amen. Right, so in the fifth year of Joram, right? Joram became a king in 851 BC, right? So 51 BC, and how many years? 5, right? In the 5th year. However, it's about whom? Who is becoming king? Jehoram is becoming king now. So Jehoram is the main character. And Jehoram used a accession year method or non-accession year method? Up to Jehoshaphat, southern Judah used a accession year method, and after that it changed to non-accession year method. We are talking about the southern Judah Jehoram, right? Not the northern Israel Jehoram. So non-accession year method was used. So -1, deduct 1. Then it became 847. 847. 847 means what? It's the year Jehoram became king. Therefore, it's the year Jehoshaphat died. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Each number, right, means something. From 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 42, we got 844 BC as the year Jehoshaphat died and Jehoram became king. And the 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 16, it says we have 847 as the year that Jehoram became king and Jehoshaphat died. And how are we going to solve this 3 years difference? How we are going to solve this 3-year difference? In order to find this, in order to find the answer, as I said, there is no Bible scripture says, between one king and the other king, there was a time of regency. There is no such a simple answer in the Bible. You have to find out the reason why this difference is happening. That's what Senior Pastor Reverend Abraham did. Senior Pastor Abraham Park read a Bible, right, from the beginning till the end, so many times, just to find out the reason of these 3 years difference. And that this 3 years difference came out from where? Second Chronicle, chapter 16. Thank you. Second Chronicle, chapter 16, verse 12 to 13. Second Chronicle, chapter 16, verse 12 to 13. Amen. The Bible says, in the 39th year of reign of Asa, right? So let's calculate this year, right? 39th of year. Asa became a king 910. 910. Now 39 years, right? Is it a session-year method? Non-session-year method. Yes, thank you. A session-year method, right? So, I mean, this is a system. This is the formula we have to ask every time, right? This is something that we know, that exists. It's not. In every calculation, we have to ask the same question over and over again. Is it a session? Is it non-session? Is it Tishri? Is it Nisan? Right? So 39, and it became, what is it? 871, right? 871, sorry. 871. 871. Now, this 871 means what? This is the year Asa died, or Asa became sick, right? Asa became sick. Sick. And this is the year Jehoshaphat became king. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. So Bible tells us that 871 BC, Asa became sick, and therefore Jehoshaphat became a king. In here, right, according to 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 41, we have 869 as the year Asa died, and Jehoshaphat became king. But according to 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 12 to 13, we got another year, 871, as the Jehoshaphat became king. So considering all this, the conclusion we can make is Asa reigned for 41 years, right, altogether. However, in 39th year, he had a foot disease, right? He had a foot disease. Bible says the sickness was severe, right? It said disease was severe. How severe? I mean, when it comes to the foot disease of Asa, or when we say foot disease, we think about minor corn, or we think about as serious as about gout, isn't it? That could be the kind of foot disease that the king would have. But Bible says it was serious. It was severe, right? It was severe, right? How severe it was? It was so severe that Asa could not do his kingship anymore. Do you understand? In the 39th year, Asa had gotten this foot disease, that it was so severe and it was so serious that it was so painful that Asa could not do his kingship anymore. I don't know what it is, right? I don't know what it was. I cannot explain what it was. But it's something that he cannot think, he cannot control, he cannot make a decision as a king. It was so severe that he cannot do anything as a king. So, because of foot disease, right? Because he cannot do any kingship, he allowed his son Jehoshaphat to be a acting king. Then the Bible says, in the 41st year, Asa died. Asa died. Which means Asa and Jehoshaphat jointly reigned, or the co-reigned, right? Co-reigned for 3 years, from 871 until 869. 3 years, right? That's how the regency, the case of regency is found. Difficult, isn't it? You have to go through everything and then recalculate everything and find out whether this is right or not. And let me then double confirm whether this calculation is right or not, right? Now let's go back to 1 King chapter 22, verse 42 here. 1 King chapter 22, verse 42. It says, Jehoshaphat reigned for 25 years, right? Jehoshaphat reigned for 25 years. We took this number, 869, right, as the year Jehoshaphat became king, and the answer is 844, which is different, right, which was different. Now, let's take 871 as the year that Jehoshaphat became king and see how it goes. Jehoshaphat became king at 871, 25 years he reigned. Now, when it comes to regency or joint reign, I said what? In terms of calculation, it is regarded as non-accession year dating method, right? Because father is still alive. Father is sick, but father is still alive. So Jehoshaphat could not have a year of accession. He could not have a ceremony of accession because Asa could become healed, right? Asa could become healed, and he could come back to his position, right? So Jehoshaphat could not have the year of accession or the ceremony of accession. So there is no year of accession, regardless whether that king used accession year dating method or non-accession year dating method. Okay, regardlessly, right? Joint reign or the regency, right? The number is calculated, is regarded as a non-accession year dating method. So because it's the regency non-accession year dating method, so deduct my 1 here, right? Then the answer is am I correct? Right? I'm correct, right? Sorry, thank you. And this fits with this, isn't it? This fits with this. Isn't it amazing? It's not just theory. This formula and this calculation method are not just theory. It is actually the one that is used. Senior Pastor Abraham Park, this calculation is not, it's not written in the Bible. He has to form it, right? He has to draw this calculation, the way of calculating. But this works for every corner and everything. This is not just a theory. This is not just to patch up the difference, right? But actually, when it is found, then the actual calculation can go through, and the same answer comes out. Same answer. That's why we can confidently say, yes, this is the way to calculate King's chronology. Using this method, we can calculate from the beginning until the end without any wrong, any mistake. So do you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? Great. Only thing is, look at here. One verse different, right? It's the same chapter, only one verse different. In verse 41, right? In verse 41, Jehoshaphat became a king in 869, right? But in verse 42, the year that Jehoshaphat became king is 871. Right? Do you understand? Right? If one chapter use 169 and the other book or the other chapter use 871, then it is easier for us to understand, isn't it? Because it's written by a different person, it's written in different time, right? So that one is 869 and the other one is 871, right? However, it's the same chapter in only one verse difference. But first verse, the earlier verse uses 869. It shows us that 869 is the year that Jehoshaphat became king. And the right next verse use 871 as the year that Jehoshaphat became king. How difficult it is for us, if we try to find out this answer. That is why all the theologians, right? That is why all the theologians so far says King's chronology is wrong and false. It crashes each other. It cannot be matched. Can you understand? I mean, because we know the answer, now we can understand. Even one verse difference it refers to different year. But if you are calculating from the beginning, from the scratch, how can you understand this? How can you understand it? Is there a full stop? Is there any indication that they are going to use different year? Maybe not. And so how difficult it is. And if you know how difficult it is to find out these answers and the chart, then when we read a fourth book, we could appreciate grace of God and our Father's love a lot. Because this one cannot be just come out from his pocket. This one just cannot come out from a simple way. This takes about 5 years, 10 years calculation, continuous calculation to figure it out. Finally, that is the formula and that is the way of calculation that fits everywhere. Not only here, not only there, but it fits everywhere. So if this is the true, then what we can understand, we can understand the level of the Asa's foot disease, right? I just told you before, but the Bible only says it's severe, right? But how severe? It was so severe that he could die for it, isn't it? He could die because of the foot disease. And he actually died because of the foot disease, right? And from the beginning, from the 30th year, from the moment that he got this foot disease from God, right? It was so severe that he may not be able to walk, he may not be able to talk, he may not be able to even do anything, right? That was how severe this foot disease. And the Bible says what? Yet King Asa did not seek God's help, isn't it? Now we can understand how evil, how stupid this king was, isn't it? If this is just a scar, if this is just a cone, right? Then you couldn't look for medicine, you couldn't look for, you couldn't go for the doctor, right? But if this foot disease was something that can take your life away, then, for us, we could think that, the first thing he should have done is kneel down before God and ask God's help, right? But the Bible says King Asa did not kneel down before God, nor he asked for God's help. So this became serious sin before God. So that's why I'm saying, if we understand the year, right? If we understand the number, the Bible actually comes alive. We didn't know how serious it was, but now we can understand, that's how serious it was. And that's how serious a sin that King Asa was committing before God. It's not just the cough. It's not just the cold, flu that he was suffering with. He was suffering with the life-taking disease. Yet he did not ask for God's help. Right, the second case, probably we will do the second case and finish today. Second case is a bit more difficult because because it's not only two people reign together, but three people. We're not going to do all the three people, but we will do Amaziah and Azariah, right? Amaziah and Azariah or Azariah. So same, let's read 2 Kings chapter 14, verse 1 to 2. 2 Kings chapter 14, verse 1 to 2.
In the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, became king. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 39 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jehoiakim of Jerusalem.
Amen. Thank you. Right. In the second year of Joash, Amaziah became king, right? So calculate the sorry. Let's check one more time before we go. Second year of Joash, he reigned for so Amaziah, right? We are talking about Amaziah. Right. The second year of Joash. Right. So Joash became a king in 797 BC. 797 BC. I think it's okay. Let's just do it. Joash became 797 BC, but it says A here. In the second year, right? In the second year, so plus 2, but it's the Amaziah, right? Amaziah used accession or non-accession? Jehoram, Ahaziah, Athaliah, and Joash, they are the one who used non-accession. So from Amaziah, it changed back to a session-year dating method. Is it correct? If you have the chart that I already gave you a few weeks ago, you will know that, right? From Amaziah, a session-year dating method was used. So leave it, right? So it became 795, right? However, this calculation is wrong. Why? Now Nisan and Tishri. Now Nisan and Tishri. Right. 797A means what? It is according to Nisan, right? Do you know that? Do you remember that only Tishri cycle has B and only Nisan cycle has A, right? So A means it's the Nisan. So that means 7, 9, 8, 7, 9, 7. This is a Nisan, right? And according to Tishri, why we need to calculate in this Tishri? Because Amaziah is the southern Judah king. He used Tishri cycle, right? So in Tishri, this is 7, 9, 8, and this is 7, 9, 7. It says the calculation came out for the Joash is a 797 BC and 797A, right? In Nisan, A means here, right? Am I right? So 797, I will read right here, and 797A means T7, 798B. Am I correct? So when we calculate southern Judah king's age or the Regnal year, 797 should be changed to 798B plus 2 means 796. 796. So 796 is the year. 796 is the year when who's this? Amaziah became king. Do you understand how we calculate it? Huh? Difficult, isn't it? It's not easy as we thought. This is how Nisan and Tishri is used. 797A means, according to Tishri cycle, it's the 7898B. Therefore, when we calculate southern Judah kingdom, Tishri cycle kingdom, the king's Regnal year, we should convert it back to Tishri, which is 798. So, second year of 798 is 796. 796. So means Amaziah became a king in 796 BC. 796 BC. Well, it's not important, so I will just skip it. If you understand it, good. If you don't, then don't worry, because you got the answer already. So 797, and how many years? It says 29 years, right? 796 plus 29 years. 29, Amaziah was using a session year dating method, right? So we do not change anything. And then the answer is 767, right? 767. The 767 is the year Amaziah died, right? And the next king, Azariah, became king. Right? 767 would be the year that Amaziah died, and the next king, so succeeding king, Azariah, became king. Now let's read 2 Kings chapter 15, verse 1 to 2. 2 Kings chapter 15, verse 1 to 2. So from here, the information we can get is, firstly, the year of Amaziah became king, right? It says it's the 27th year of Jeroboam, right? The 27th of Jeroboam. Jeroboam became a king in 793, and it's the 27 years, right? 27. Sorry, this is the year that Azariah became a king, right? Azariah, son of Amaziah, right? So Azariah became a king. Okay. I see. No, it's not. Azariah, sorry. Well, normally it should be left and untouched because Azariah also used a session-year dating method, right? However, anyway, it doesn't work that way. So, so let's say it's a 7, 6, 8, right? 7, 6, 8. No, 7, 6, 6, isn't it? 7, 6, 6. It's not important because it's the wrong calculation anyway. And it says he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, right? He reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. Means from 766, 52 years, and he was using a sessional dating method. So it means 714, right? 714. 714. So this means when Azariah, right? Azariah became king. And this means when next son, right? Next king, or Azariah died, right? Azariah died. Or the next king of Azariah is whom? Azariah then? Thank you, Jotham. Yes, this should be when Jotham became king, right? However, now trouble is 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 32. 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 32. Right, it says that in the second year of Pekah, right, Jotham became a king, right? In the second year of Pekah. Pekah became a king in 752 BC, 752 BC. And the second year, Jotham used a session-year dating method, so it means 750 BC, right? 750 BC is the when Jotham became king. Can you see the difference now? From one calculation, we got 714 as the year Jotham became king. And through another calculation, we got 750 BC as the year Jotham became king. Right? So when there is a difference, then we have to think again and go through again. Right? For this, I will just tell you the answer, because it's just too difficult, right? The reason can be found, reason for the co-regency or reason for the regency can be found in 2 Chronicle chapter 26, verse 19 to 21. 2 Chronicle chapter 26, verse 19 to 21.
enraged. And while he was enraged with the priest, the leprosy broke out on his forehead before the priest in the house of the Lord, beside the altar of incense. Azariah the chief priest and all the priests looked at him, and behold, he was leprous on his forehead, and they hurried him out of there. And he himself also hastened to get out, because the Lord had smitten him. King Uzziah was a leper to the day of his death. He lived in a separate house, being a leper, for he was cut off from the house of the Lord. And Jotham his son was over the king's house, judging the people of the land.
Amen. What happened is Uzziah is the another name for the Azariah, right? Uzziah is the another name for the Azariah. He, the king, entered the temple, the tabernacle, and he, right, offered the census to God, right? And because of that, God broke out lepers to the king and the high priest. High priest's name was Azariah, same as the king. Therefore, the king Azariah sometimes is referred to Uzziah. So anyway, so king became leper because of this. And when you become a leper in Israel, in Jewish culture, you cannot live in the normal place. You have to be segregated. You have to go somewhere where the lepers live together, right? So because king became a leper, he cannot be in the palace anymore. He cannot be in the palace anymore. So he has to be segregated. Yet he is not dead, right? He is still alive. A king is still alive, but he cannot be in the palace. Right? People are wishing that God forgives him and his leper could be healed, right? And if that happened, he would be back to king's palace and he would continue to his kingship. So this is the case that because Azariah became a leper, Jotham immediately became a king. And in this case as well, because although Azariah became a leper, yet he was still alive. Therefore, Jotham could not have a ceremony of accession, right? Ceremony of accession. So all the co-regency, all the joint reign cannot have this ceremony of accession or the year of accession. So it will calculate as non-accession year dating method. So to sum up, what it means is Amaziah reigned from 796 to 767 BC. Okay, so the answer, the proper answer, Amaziah reigned from 796 to 767 BC, right? However, during this time, from 791 to 767, he reigned together with Azariah, right? Reigned together, or having a co-regency with Azariah. Oh, sorry. That was Azariah, right? Sorry. The leprosy is Azariah, right? Amaziah is different. Azariah is because he got leprosy, right? So he reigned together with his son Jotham. But Amaziah was the one who went out to battle, and he was captured. Amaziah was captured, right? Amaziah was captured. So the next king, the Azariah, became a king. And Azariah, because he went to the temple and he offered up instead of the priest. So God struck him with leprosy. So he also could not reign anymore. So this here, the three kings overlaps his reigning. Amaziah and Azariah, and next one is Jotham, right? Jotham. So Azariah reigned from 791 to 739. Azariah 791 to 739. 791 to 739. And among this, during this time, from 750 to 739, he had a co-regency with Jotham. So when we, as I said, when we know and we understand the numbers, it tells us the deeper and the story that behind what is written, right? We can understand, we can imagine, we can picturize the situation at that time, right? Because the king is going out for the battle, or king was captured, and that king was still alive. The enemy did not kill him. If enemy killed him, then it's easier for the rest of us, right? They can just appoint a new king and do the rest of it. But when the king was captured and still imprisoned, right? Then this rest of the people could not appoint a new king because he could return. He could be released and return, right? So all that situation is involved. And also there are exceptional cases. We are not going to study exceptional case, but there are exceptional cases. What is the exceptional cases? Things like it here. Azariah became he became a leper, right? And the Jotham became a king. However, leper is kind of uncurable disease, isn't it? It's like a cancer. It's only by God's miracle that they could be healed, isn't it? So when Azariah or Uzziah became a leper, people regard him already finished, isn't it? Although he is alive physically, yet he cannot come back. I mean, the majority will think that, Azariah is finished. Azariah cannot come back, right? Therefore, in this case, sometimes, even though it is the situation of the joint reign or the co-regency, yet the succeeding king could have year of accession. Could have year of accession when the situation is so clear that the preceding king cannot, the previous king cannot come alive or come back to its office. So there are only few cases that can be, the exceptional cases can be applied. But in general, all the joint reign and the co-regencies are being regarded or being referred to the non-accession dating year method. Okay. So this is how we can find co-regencies in the Bible. There is a northern Israel king's case, Timni and Omri. Most important thing actually. When you look at this chart, would you mind look at this chart? The chart, yes. In the northern Israel king, there is a Zimri, right? About 5 or 6. There is a Zimri, Timni, Omri, right? Right. Oh yeah. How do I say it? It's the, how do I write there? Yes, I say that Zimri / Timni, right? That is wrong. So lower down Timni to the next verse. So it's the Jimni in the 5th, and the 6th is Timni and Omri. Yeah, Timni and Omri is in the 6th. Sorry? No, they are not the same person, but they are. It's the case of the joint reign. After after Jimli died, Jimli only reigned for 7 days. Bible says he became a king for 7 days, and he was killed. Right. So you can see how the government is unsecure, and all the thing is changing so fast. So Timni and Omri both became a king. Both claimed that I am the king. So they became regional king. Timni became regional king. Omri became regional king. And so they fight against each other for 5 years. And then finally Omri won against Timni and claimed that he is the national king now. That is actually the next case about this joint reign. But you may be able to just read the Bible and learn. So there is such cases as well. So today I'm going to finish, and for this calculation I will not come back. For this calculation I will not come back and repeat. But what I can tell you is, not many of Hyungangjail Church member has studied about this. So you are very special of learning about this. And although it is very difficult, once you get to know the basic, you can actually use it to prove that how the calculation goes, and how this background stories can come out, how this background story or speculation could be true. It's not just mere speculation, but based on the Bible. So I hope it helps, and from next week we will move on to perhaps Solomon's temple, right? Okay, thank you very much for listening.